As part of our wellness strategy, we talk about managing stress, and this is especially important in the digestive system. So let's talk about stress and the effects of stress on digestion. Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Minke. This is Minke Wellness. And there's irrefutable that stress will affect digestion. And the explanation is very simple. If I am about to get eaten by a lion, if you want to use that example, I'm running for my life. This is not the time that I care about my digestive system. I don't care about resting and digesting. I am running and gunning. I'm not be dinner myself. And so this idea that when the body is under stress, when the mind is under stress, it shuts down certain functions that are not necessary, and it increases other functions. And now these functions that get shut down are the digestive system and the reproductive system, primarily those two systems, and it upregulates certain aspects of the musculoskeletal system, cardiovascular system, and the brain gets activated. It depends on which part. So it's kind of complicated, and I won't go into all that because that's a different topic. But it does, without a doubt, shut down digestion. Okay, and so here's the problem in our modern world, and this is where stress sneaks in. So let's talk about the sources of stress and how we could be really undermining a lot of our wellness program because of these very subtle, low but constant levels of stress that are coming in that we're not learning to manage because we don't even recognize they're there. Maybe even the stress of our system stress has been triggered or patterned in the womb from day one of our existence, and I don't even register it. I just kind of equate it to that's who I am. I'm just a high-strung person. That's kind of just my energy level. That's normal for me. And I hear people say that, and I'm not disputing that there are definitely people who kind of go at a slower pace, and then there are people that kind of go a little bit higher and more animated. Yeah, I get that part. But there's this, you do have to watch out for overrunning your system with stress. So let's talk a little bit about where these sources of stress can come from, and we'll come back to digestion in a minute. Okay, so again, this wellness strategy of that we've been talking about the whole time: stop poisoning myself, flood the body with nutrients, and manage my stress. And in a way, I kind of consider the manage my stress part to be stop poisoning myself in the stress category. Okay, so anyway. Okay, so where are these sources of stress? One of the easy sources of stress is actually the news. The news is designed to elicit stress response, because stress response gets us animated and then gets us hooked. Okay, there's actually now research on people who are using Facebook that there's actually an endorphin rush every time there's a little ding, right? And so we keep looking back to our phone, we keep looking, and there's a certain stress associated with that is ramping the system up and creating problems, okay, for us long term. So this idea that it has to be something major, tangible stress in order to affect the body is not true. These very small but constant levels of stress. Now, consider driving, for example, that I'm driving down the road at 40 miles an hour on this road that's right out, in kind of the more major roadway. And it's a 4-lane road right here in the middle of town, runs right through the middle of town. It's a 40-mile-an-hour speed limit. So if I'm going 40 miles an hour this way and someone else is coming this way at 40 miles an hour, that's an 80-mile-an-hour potential collision, and we're only 12 feet apart. Okay? Our car's passing at an 80-mile-an-hour collision 12 feet apart. And while my general experience and my trust and my sort of confidence is that we're going to just go along our merry way. But what you and I are not registering is that there's actually a constant threat, okay, constant stress, i.e. life-threatening concern that person's not going to stay in their lane, right? And so every time we pass, and then another one, and then another one, and another one. So how many, just from us in our modern world, which we were never meant to experience in this kind of regularity, this kind of stress and this kind of regularity. And so we just get numb to it. We get sort of just immune to these little stress responses. Oh, there's another potential life-threatening interaction. Oh, another potentially life-threatening situation. Oh, another potential life-threatening situation. And this is all I'm doing is going to the store. I'm simply driving to the grocery store from here to my house, which takes all of about 6 minutes. And I probably have registered and experienced and reacted to in some base part of my brain several instances of potentially life-threatening response. Okay, so that creates a stress response underneath. Okay, so when I'm saying we need to manage our stress, of course we would want to reduce our stress, but there is stress that in our modern world, in our modern technological culture, we cannot seem to get away from entirely. And so we have to have stress management tools. We have to figure out how to manage our stress. Now, again, I'm going to suggest that this level of stress that we're not designed for is eroding our digestive ability, right? Because it shuts down stomach acid production. It just simply shuts down the digestive system because it doesn't want to use energy to try to digest food when I have to deal with my, trying to stimulate my cardiovascular system and my muscles in case I need to run or survive or whatever. Okay, so these are the kinds of stresses that I'm talking about that are really just creeping in. And while we probably can't avoid the driving stress that I'm describing, we certainly have a choice about what kind of entertainment I put in. I'm watching or playing violent video games, watching violent movies, reading and watching violent news, getting worked up over things I don't have much control over in the news. And so these are stress levels that I can start to manage by avoiding the impulse, right? Avoiding the source. Okay. There's also things that are eating us up at work, relationships and whatnot. Ultimately, you've heard me say this before in a number of our stress videos. Ultimately, the true source of not being stressed is to have a relationship with God. And that relationship is really the fundamental piece. And there's a lot of research that actually shows that people that go to church and have a faith life and have a faith practice have much lower stress levels and live longer and all the rest of that stuff. So it bears out in terms of that we are talking about something wellness related, and it's worth your spiritual wellness not really being a topic that I've covered in this course, but physical wellness directly linked to that. Okay, so but the stress we're talking about again. Now, there are certain things that we induce stress almost without even trying, or just as a sort of an addiction, and we get addicted to stress and the stress response because the stress response stimulates the brain. And we like that stimulation, and so we go for more. And again, I've talked to people. That's just the way I am. It's just the way I am. And they're kind of jerky, and they're kind of and I look at them and go, they don't even know how to relax. They don't know how to calm down at all. They don't know how to be calm in their bodies. And so I do recommend massage and breathing, which we've talked a fair amount in this course. But doing your breathing and bringing in peace, bringing in joy, letting the pool calm and bring the stress level down. And in this breathing, the de-stress breathing, what I would recommend in the context of digestion is that we can bring our stress down, use some calming breaths, even use some essential oils like lavender, peace and calming, or some uplifting joy oils like joy, or release if I'm having trouble letting go of something in the past that's coming forward and bugging me. And so the oils can be fabulous to inhale the oils and do our breathing. Okay, exhaling out the stress, calming the waters, that little pool or pond is some of the imagery we're using. Now, once I've got my stress level down, it's useful to come back and do one of those breaths that helps stimulate the digestion, because we know already that our stress level has shut down digestion. Now, it would be good to get it kick-started. So as you do as we leave the digestive system, this is our last day for the digestive system, as we leave that and we go into the next thing, this is a simple breath that you could carry with you You can look at the many different types of breathing that we've done throughout the month, but this is a really nice breath to manage the stress with the breath and then fire up the digestion. We can go back to our liver. We've already done this. Fire up the liver. We can bring that furnace kind of image. We can do the stomach, breathing into the stomach and activating that. We can breathe into the pancreas and activate that. And we can all in 1 or 2 or 3 breaths. So breathe into the liver. Feel the furnace. Breathe into the stomach. Feel the juices. Breathe into the pancreas. Feel those juices. Bring in the duodenum. And so here I go. I've got in 3, 4, 5 breaths. First breath, I've calmed the system. Second breath, I get my digestion work going again, right? And so this is going to be very useful, as you go on kind of your if you can take them. How long did that take? Not even, that's 20 seconds, 30 seconds, right? So just certainly less than a minute. So it's something that is very easily applied to your day. Let's say you've eaten and you feel heavy, and maybe you've even taken enzymes and you still like feeling draggy and heavy, and you realize, oh, maybe it's that my stress level is like off the roof. I'm thinking about all this other stuff. I don't really have time to stop and rest. But I do need to bring my stress level down. Here's where you can intervene in your own wellness journey on a daily basis. You've heard me say that wellness is daily basis. I can intervene with a breath to calm down my stress. Okay, bringing in God's love. Exhale all the concerns and worries. Seeing that image of the pond settling, all nice and cool, calm water. And then do a digestion, stimulate digestion. Liver, stomach, pancreas, duodenum. And so you can actually in one breath start to kind of feel, because you've done this already, you've made the connection, you've gotten skilled, your consciousness, you're bringing your consciousness to the picture, you can, boom, in one breath, you can bring, that back up. If you've practiced with me on these videos, even just a little bit, I think you'll already be able to acknowledge that when you go back and do a sort of a repeat of that, maybe you haven't thought about it for a few weeks because that was way back on week 1, but when I talk about it now and you do a little breath, you are like, oh, wow, I'm already there. It's amazing once you make that connection, the body never forgets. It's kind of like riding a bicycle. You don't forget. And so there it is. I'm right there with that breath. Okay, so this idea of managing our stress is, we can use a breath. I don't have an oil with me right this moment, but, be inhaling an oil, put the oil in bring that in. And then again, lots of oils to choose from for calming, peace and calming stress away. Lavender oil, even cedarwood, tranquil. These are a number of different oils. And then we go into more of the emotional oils, joy, release, inner child, some of these more uplifting oils. Okay, so actually, I would make a comment on Sara, the oil Sara. Very, very powerful for ritual, it stands for sexual and ritual abuse. And people might go, well, I didn't know that was what it was for. I just thought it was, Gary had some sister or something named Sarah. But it actually stands for sexual and ritual abuse. And what I think emotionally is that we are all abused by our culture. The marketing message is that we are not good enough, we're not worthy enough, we're not pretty enough, we're not thin enough, we're not athletic enough, we're not sexy enough. We need to have some outside, thing that's, something that we need to buy, right? This is the marketing message. It's sort of a constant insecurity. And if you have our product, you'll be better. If you don't have our product, you're not so good. And so that's a constantly eroding message to our psyche, and it's cultural abuse. We also have, a lot of different aspects to cultural abuse. Again, you're not rich enough. I mean, the idea that our value is tied to these very conditional things, which is not true. The value of our life is within us. So anyway, I think we all need something like Sara. So if you're familiar with that oil, something also you could bring in. So a lot of powerful essential oil tools that we could use. But the bottom line is to bring in the goodness, bring in that connection to God, bring in God's love and peace into our bodies, and then activate our digestion with a single breath, okay? So as we leave the digestive system, go back and look at some of the stuff we've done, but I think you'll find that the digestive system is pretty core part of our wellness, and we all need to continue on a daily basis working on that. Happy wellness.